Hi guys, I had another story I wanted to go ahead and put out to you guys while I had a moment. First off, I want to start out by me and Sarah's been out almost every day this week. It's been really hot down there in the woods. I'm not going to lie, here in Oklahoma it's been high 100s, heat index is even higher. And it's been very peaceful. We haven't caught anything, which happens a lot on our adventures. Sarah's a trooper though. She's out there with me and she's trying, and we're not even getting any calls right now. I don't know if the heat right now has pushed them back. If they're smart, they're probably laying in a creek somewhere. That's what I'd be doing. But it is so hot. But I just want to keep you all updated. We have not found anything on any investigations, and we've been out almost every night. The boys wanted me to let you all know that they're putting a video out today on our other channel, and they love you guys watching, man. They watch those comments and likes, and they sit there and they just have a ball with it. But tonight they're making what they're calling their chocolate chip cookie brownies. So that'll be coming out probably tonight or tomorrow. I'll get it edited and out. And to the story of the day, got a fly after me. We're going to talk about, it's called the BAUMAN incident. Location was the Salmon River. It's in Idaho, and Mr. Bowman had died March 20th, 1909, and he, on his deathbed, said the story was true. Teddy Roosevelt, I don't know if you all know, had Bigfoot encounters, and also I spoke to Mr. Bowman. Bowman was a young man, and he was trapping with his partner on the Wisdom River. This pass had an evil reputation because a year before the solitary hunter wandering around, it was reported that a man was slain in this area by a beast. The half-eaten remains were found by mining prospectors that had passed through the camp the night before. Even though Mr. Bowman knew this, he also knew that the area was known for a lot of trapping and beavers and stuff, which was what he'd done. Bowman and his friend decided to enter the pass because it was full of beaver. They left the ponies at the opening of the pass in an open meadow. They were just allowing them to graze, I'm assuming, probably hobbled. They then continued on foot into the gloomy forest. They had traveled 4 hours before they reached an opening where they decided to camp. Due to all the animal signs, they still had about a 2-hour daylight left ahead of them, so they decided, hey, let's go ahead and stop here. There's a lot of signs of animal. We can probably do a lot of good trapping here. Which reminds me of whenever we're out and we have a lot of our sightings, we notice there is a lot of game trails. And if you look at the game trails, some of them are narrow and short, which you know are rabbit and stuff. Then you got some are a little taller, which are probably your deer. Then you got some are a little wider, maybe not as tall, but then some people say they crawl. You know, they can crawl like a spider. I don't know about that. I've never witnessed that, but I've been told that. So I've noticed we see a lot of game trails where it's active for us. They're seeing a lot of game trails, and you'll see it got very active for them. Let's see. They continued on foot and continued to scout out the area. They decided this would be a good place to camp, and they built what they call a brush lean-to, and they opened their packs and started upstream. On the side of the stream had a large cliff on the opposite side, which is very tall. Had a lot of tall pine trees, very thick up in there, so they couldn't hardly see up and through there. They returned to their camp, and they found that their things had been gone through, and they noticed their backpacks had been gone through, their stuff had been moved around and everything. It was starting to get dark, but Mr. Bowman's partner noticed that there was fresh footprint in the area, and he started to examine the footprint while he was there and trying to check it out to kind of see what it was. Bowman started making dinner at that time, and he had already started to get dark. His companion decided to check the tracks out even further. He took a torch from the fire and started to examine the footprints, and he also found that they went down along the game trail, which were following the game trail. Bowman laughed at his partner because his partner made the remark that if this is a bear, it's walking bipedal, and it's walking bipedal the whole way. Well, Bowman laughed at his partner and kind of agreed, yeah, it is walking on 2 feet, but bear do that. But, he kind of laughed it off, and Bowman's partner continued to say, bears don't walk that far on 2 legs, and especially up hills and on trails. They later went to sleep in the lean-to, and about midnight, Bowman was awakened by some noise. So he sat up. He could smell a strong wild beast odor, and it caught the loom of he caught the loom of a great body in the darkness, and at the mouth of the lean-to. This creature had walked up and is now looking at him while they're sleeping in the lean-to. It's standing there staring at him, which it happened to my aunt in her own house. Turn this off real fast. But they sitting there getting watched like that. That happened to my aunt in her own house. The men sat at the fire after that because they were a little shook up. They seen something staring at them, and they're grasping their rifle. He fired at the vague shadow as he could see it over by the tree line as it had now left because they got up and went over by the fire, and he sees it over there, so he takes a shot at it, which I'm thinking is probably what led the creature to become more aggressive because they fired at it. They woke the next morning and started to check their traps. They agreed that they were not going to split up this morning because of everything that had been happening, firing at this creature and how large this creature was. They said it was a very large creature. They returned to the camp and they found their lean-to was completely tore down. The ground was marked up by the tracks. It again was walking on two legs. These feet print were 18 inches long by 9 inches wide. It's a pretty good track. While gathering the last of their game, they decided time to leave. It's getting pretty wild in there. It's getting scary. This thing's tracking them. They're having a lot of trouble with it. So, hey, let's run our traps one last time. Let's get our stuff and get out of here. As they were collecting their game, they heard something rustling amongst them in the small pines and in the bushes while they were walking. Something was stalking them. It was following them. That's happened to me in the woods. It's happened to my mom walking down the road in the country when she used to push my sister in a baby carriage, which that'd probably be in one of the books, all right. That was a pretty scary encounter. The game warden was called, and there was a creature removed. But anyways, Bowman went to retrieve the beaver traps, and they decided, hey, we're going to have to split up so we can get all this done. Let's get out of here before nightfall. Well, they didn't get out before nightfall. They had a lot of traps out and stuff like that. So whenever Bowman returned back, he noticed that the campfire was almost out. His eyes then fell upon the body of his friend stretched beside the trunk of a fallen spruce. He ran to the body, fearing that he was hurt or injured, and whenever he got to the body, he noticed that his neck was broken, his neck was turned around backwards. He noticed 4 great fang marks on his throat. It had bit through his throat as if it had bit through his throat and twisted his neck around. It's crazy. The tracks shown that it had slipped up behind him while he was sitting watching the fire. So while Bowman's friend was sitting at the fire, this creature had slipped up behind him, bit him on the neck, twisted his head around. That's violent. Bowman grabbed his rifle, headed down the path, and found the horses where they had left them. He did not stop riding his horse until he reached home. It says he rode all night long in fear for his life. He then says he never returned to the area. A posse was sent out, search and rescue at the time. They did locate the body. But the body wasn't laying where he said it was. The body had the fang marks. The head was turned around backwards. But the body was found suspended upside down with a vine around his legs. And he was tied upside down and disemboweled. So whatever it was had gutted him kind of like you would a deer. So that's a very horrific death. That's a scary story. Took a lot of digging, finding all this, but I was very interested in it because it's history and, former president having, sightings and stuff. I thought it was very interesting, but I thought you all would also find it very interesting. If you're out, guys, and it's tracking you, be careful. I've had them track me. I've heard them tracking me. You may not always see them, but you will hear them. And if they're tracking you, my opinion is, and this is just my opinion, they're up to no good.